All right, welcome to the Pig and a Pickle Crew show from Levi's. Niners lose in Week 18 to the Seahawks. Man, this game was ugly. We'll get into it right now. Let's go. All right, off and running from Levi's after the Niners lose to the Seahawks. 13-3 was the final. It was brutal to watch. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig and a Pickle. Check them out there in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're opening in 2026 in Petaluma. Tonight we come to you from Levi's Stadium. I'm here at Levi's. Kev's in his home studio. Niners lose to the Seahawks 13-3, and it really wasn't that close. Seahawks missed a couple field goals. They had a turnover on downs deep in Niner territory. This game probably was not even as close as the score indicates. 13-3 the final. I mean, if you're Robert Saleh and you're driving home, you're going, okay, wait a second. We held JSN to 6 catches for 84 yards on 8 targets. So he didn't break 100 yards. Neither back broke 100 yards. Sam Darnold, was hardly awesome. He was 20 of 26, but he didn't even throw for 200 yards. You got a couple sacks on Darnold. You held them to 13 points, and JSN didn't score. He's having an all-world year, and you lost by double digits. I mean, seriously, where was the offense tonight? I mean, I realize Seattle's got a good defense, and we kind of referenced this, that Seattle's offensive numbers, they were number 2 in points per game scored, but they were number 2 in points per game allowed. And I said, I really felt like the points per game allowed was legit, but the points scored I didn't think was very legit, because I think they're just a mediocre offense. And you saw it today. The 49ers defense is not good, but the Niners held this Seattle team to 13 points and still lost by 10. The big play came at the end when Drake Thomas got the interception. Otherwise, a 13-10 game or 13-3 game could have been 13-10. And maybe, who knows, maybe it goes a little differently. The moment that I'll also think about is, the Sam Darnold turns the ball over, and sure enough, he tripped over one of his offensive linemen, tried to get the ball to one of his running backs, fumbled the ball. It bounced right to Cleve Farrell, had it in his arms, and he couldn't corral it. And Seattle, got the fumble recovery. If the Niners recover the fumble there, that's deep inside Seahawk territory. The place is rocking, and all of a sudden it's a different vibe. Maybe the momentum shifted. Instead, they didn't get that turnover. They wind up being -1 on turnovers in a game where they probably needed to be +1 to have a chance to win, with Seattle being as good as they are on both sides of the ball. So Niners couldn't get the key turnover when they needed it. It wasn't like their defense just gave it up, though their defense at times did give it up. But 13 points, you'll take that every day. Kev, what'd you think?
Yeah, Niners got beat. They got beat bad. They got outclassed. They got beaten both sides of the football. The box score says it was a 10-point game. They were lucky that it wasn't, more of a blowout. I think that was pretty apparent. I was extremely pessimistic about this game, which is probably making some people roll their eyes, because I'm the guy that comes on here a lot after these games. If you watch the post-game show regularly, as I'm maybe known as the guy that praises Purdy maybe a little too much, but obviously Purdy had a bad game statistically, and I think there's a number of reasons for that. But
he had no time to throw.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, before we even get into any of the drives, and I think we should, and we can dissect this game drive by drive. Like, let's just take a step back. Like, I think that this Seahawks team, like, part of the reason why I was pessimistic, the more I looked into the Seahawks team, I think the Seahawks team is uniquely, just better than the Niners in a specific way that gives them an advantage. Like, the Niners' weaknesses pair up very poorly against the Seahawks' strengths. I mean, like, we can look at both sides of the football. If you look at the offense, like the Seahawks offense, Sam Darnold is kind of the X factor of their offense, right? Like, if he's playing well, they're going to score points. That's just how it is. And what is Sam Darnold like? What makes Sam Darnold a good quarterback versus a bad quarterback? It's pressure. It's 100% pressure. The Darnold, when he's under pressure, is the 22nd graded quarterback in the NFL and as leads the league in interceptions, tied with Geno Smith, who's had a historically bad season. That's Sam Darnold when he's under pressure. He's the quarterback that we used to know him as, the quarterback that turns over the ball. When he's not under pressure, he's the 5th graded quarterback in the league. His statistics are much better, and the Seahawks score. What do the Niners struggle at? They struggle at generating pressures. They've been riddled with injuries. Their defensive line they drafted has not come to fruition, at least in the pressure percentages. Their defensive tackle pressure rate is the worst in the league. They have the lowest sacks in the league. That's where they struggle. And Sam Darnold could throw the ball all day long tonight. It's just what he did, and they were able to do that well. And I thought that maybe the Niners had a chance to stop the run. They couldn't do that either. Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker ran it all over them, and I think that kind of set up play action for the Seahawks to really dominate. And then JSN's obviously JSN, and you had Renardo Green on him most of the night, and Green wasn't able to cover him. And Green's a good corner, but he isn't JSN level, and JSN's a special guy. I mean, he's a very, very special receiver. And he didn't have a ton of receptions in this game or a ton of yards, but he got plays where it counted. And that, they were able to control the time of possession offensively immensely. I mean, it was crazy. The time of possession was like 39-22. It was ridiculous. And then if we flip the ball and look on the defensive side, there's problems there too. I mean, the Niners, they need to be able to pass the ball. They need to be able to run the ball. The running the ball through the Shanahan scheme allows them to get open and all that stuff. But I think that people, like, obviously the Seahawks are a great defensive team, but as I was looking at this game, I realized, like, we're not even giving them enough credit. Like, if you look at their running statistics, this defense is one of the best run defense units in recent history. Their explosive run rate, which is runs over 10 yards allowed, is the lowest in the NFL. But not only the lowest in the NFL, it's the lowest since 2016. That's almost a decade. CMC was running into a brick wall today. They basically just gave up on the run game because, I mean, they were down, but also he was running for 2.5 yards per carry. Another thing that I think became really apparent in this game, and something that we've talked about a lot, but haven't talked about recently, is the Niners don't have any speed at wide receiver. And if you're not going to be able to run the ball.
Oh, wait, no, they do. His name's Ricky Pearsall. He didn't show up tonight.
Exactly. And we talk a lot about Ricky Pearsall as like, oh, is he good? Is he bad? Is he a bust? Is he not a bust? He's fast. I can tell you that. That's a fact. He's fast and he can run routes. And I think not having him against this Seahawks defensive back unit that is very good. You have Nick Amenwari, who's one of the most athletic defensive backs to come out of the draft in recent years. You have Devon Witherspoon, who's one of the best corners in the league. You have Julian Love, who's a great, safety among other guys in their unit. They're just shutting that down. And I think that not having the speed at receiver, they're not able to move the ball. They're just not able to move the ball. And then weren't able to run the ball. So, like, overall, this team was able to shut down the Niners. And I think if you look at the Niners' losses this year, they have 5 losses. 4 of them have come against top 10 defensive units. So it's like, if the Niners aren't able to score, if they're not able to keep up offensively, they're not going to hold up defensively. And I don't really care if the score today shows the Niners only held them to 13 points. It easily could have been 26 points. The Seahawks made a number of mistakes in this game, and it just didn't matter. You needed Sam Darnold to throw a pick. You couldn't generate enough pressure to make him uncomfortable. Instead, you throw a pick, you make the mistake in your own end zone, and the rest is history. So the Niners just got outclassed today. It's simple enough. Like, there's nothing more we can say other than this. It's pretty obvious that the Seahawks team is, I think, a tier above the Niners when they match up, and that was obviously a fact today.
Well, I mean, you just got to some teams are going to be better than you, and you're going to have to be plus on the turnover margin to hang with them. And this was a team like that. I mean, the Niners are as good as them. They just don't have Bosa. They don't have Warner. And so they've regressed significantly, and they needed turnovers, and they needed to be +1 or +2 in the turnover margin at the end of the day. Instead, they were -1. So, you're not going to beat a team like this when you're -1. The other thing is that, the 49ers, it's like they at the end of this game, I mean, look who's out there. I mean, the 49ers at one point had Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and Azeez Al-Shaair at linebacker, and then guys behind them. And now at the end of this game, we're looking at Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow. I mean, that ain't what in the heck has happened to the Niner linebacking core? And it's like there was all kinds of good linebackers in this last draft class. Did they get any of them? No. Did they develop any of them? No. They're signing guys off the street who are old and can't play or have been kicked to the curb by other organizations. I mean, it's an embarrassment. I mean, it really is. I mean, when you look at Seattle's defensive talent and the Niners defensive talent, what has happened? The 49ers, where is the 49ers defensive line? Where is the 49ers front seven depth? I mean, they just look like crap. I mean, what do they got? What do they got? Bryce Huff, Jordan Elliott, Kalia Davis, Sam O, Keon White, CJ West, Alfred Collins, Yatir Gross-Matos, Beal, Givens, Cleve Farrell. I mean, that ain't good enough. That's just not good enough. And you've got some interior guys that aren't bad, but you got nothing on the edge. And then your linebackers were falling like flies. Did you go out and pick a rookie linebacker off somebody else's practice squad? No. You just sat there eroding with old Kendricks and Garrett Wallow, who's a street free agent, guy who's just a cast off. And these guys are starting for you. They literally are starting Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow at the end of this game. So, I mean, you can't bring a butter knife to a gunfight and expect to win. I mean, it's just not good enough. That's nowhere near good enough.
Yeah.
And the lack of creativity as the season has gone on. Did Nick Martin get any run? No. So what'd you have? You had D. Winters, Tatum Bethune. Bethune got beat up. Those guys can't. I mean, Bethune really can't cover. I love him. He just can't cover. Gifford can't cover. Kendricks can't cover. Wallow can't cover. Curtis Robinson. They don't have linebackers who can cover. And did they go after anybody off anybody else's practice squad? Try to get faster, younger, better? No. They just sat there with these old guys and then signed street free agents that used to be good 3 years ago. And then you're sitting there going, they can't stop the run. Why can't they stop the run? Can't stop the run because you don't have any linebackers. You used to have state-of-the-art linebackers and guys off the bench that could start for other teams. Now you're, a Tatum Bethune injury away from being borderline not NFL. I mean, it's embarrassing. I thought their talent on the defensive side of the ball in this game was embarrassing. That's an embarrassing group of talent right there. They have no edge rush to speak of. They can't dial up any heat on the quarterback. The linebackers can't cover. You got a ton of youth in the secondary. I mean, Upton Stout played his ass off. Lenore played pretty well tonight. Jair Brown had a couple good plays. Renardo Green had a couple good plays. But, I mean, a young secondary is not going to stand up to JSN, the best receiver in pro football, or one of the best receivers in pro football. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to stand up if you have no rush up front. They had no rush.
Yeah, I mean, and sorry, Frank and Dan, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off, but like the defensive line, like we talk a lot about like what was going to hold this team back. It obviously is going to be the defensive line. Keon White was a great great trade for them. Clelin Ferrell has been a good trade or signing for them, but it's really a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. I mean, it's this defensive line is terrible. It's just terrible. Like, it's not like, in a sense, it's just not a playoff caliber defensive line. I don't think anyone could spew any facts to me that would make me think otherwise. Like, it's terrible. And like, you're not going to be able to win any games of significance if you're not going to sack the quarterback, which they're dead last in. I thought it was hilarious because I was looking into this. Nick Bosa is second in the team in quick pressures, and he hasn't played since the first quarter of week 3. So it's like, that's the defensive line you're working with right now. And that's just not going to beat any competent offensive team at this point.
We welcome in Danny and Frank. What'd you guys think of the game?
Yeah, it's pretty much what I expected tonight, to be honest with you. What I had going into this game was, it reminded me of the 2002 NFC playoffs when the Niners beat the Giants in a thriller on a missed field goal by the Giants at the end of the game, 39-38. That Bears 49ers game, I think the 49ers left everything they had on that field last week to win that game against the Bears. And I thought they were going to get I thought they would have a tough time tonight. And I think they're going to have a really tough time next week, especially if it's Philadelphia or Chicago. The only chance the 49ers have of advancing is if somehow there's a miracle and the Arizona Cardinals beat the Rams tomorrow, which it would be a complete miracle. So I think the Niners season, it was a great season. They won 12 games, 12-5 with the injuries they had. I think you got to look at that and say, okay, build on it. It was a soft schedule, but they won the games that the teams were in front of them. The offense was incredible, but I think they shot their wad last week against the Bears.
Frank, what'd you think?
Larry, you mentioned something at the beginning of your commentary. If the 49ers were going to win this game, they needed to win on the edges. Their talent level is what it is, but it really came down to a couple of plays. If Christian McCaffrey catches that pass and they score a touchdown, it's a 3-point game, in spite of how bad the defensive play. When Sam Darnold fumbled and stumbled and they fall on that football at the 23-yard line and they score, then, you got a really, really close game. So is Seattle a more talented team than the 49ers? Absolutely. But as you said, sometimes the most talented team doesn't always win. You got to play winning football. Where I was disappointed watching this team is I thought they were jacked up on adrenaline. And the things that helped them throughout the season, which was area tackling. I mean, we saw guys running 3, 4, 5 yards past a runner who was in front of them, which is crazy. 3rd and 17, somebody runs for 19 yards. That's inexcusable. You can't win football games like that. Also, I go back to the beginning of the game. 4th and 1, Shanahan calls a rollout pass.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Run the ball up somebody's back and get a first down. So there was a little morsels of disappointment that I think that really put them in a position to lose this game. Seattle gained a lot of confidence. Sam Darnold looked more like Brock Purdy than Brock Purdy today. But I thought it was on the edges in which they lost. I still think if they play close to their potential, they can still win a game or two in the playoffs. It'll be tough winning on the road. But I just thought they were jacked up on adrenaline. When they settled down, it was too late at that point.
Rye, we definitely want your thoughts. But the play you're talking about, Red, is it was the 3rd possession. Niners go 4th and 1 from the 39. Seattle actually called a timeout before the play. Niners then come back and go Purdy on a pass to Juszczyk that was nearly intercepted and turned it over on downs. You wanted to see him run it right there.
Yes.
4th and 1 from the 39. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, I'm so tired of hearing about how great Jake Brendel is. If you can't run the ball in the A gaps in key moments of the game, how great can your center really be?
That was a joke.
And you're not even trying to run there. I mean, you're trying to, it's a little bit of gimmick type offense when you're trying to fool people instead of just being like, hey, here it is. Plus, 4th and 1, let's CMC charge into the lines, whatever they're going to do. Instead, they move Purdy to throw to Juszczyk, and the ball was nearly picked off, and the Niners turned it over on downs. Rye, give me your takeaway on the game.
Oh man, that game just sucked to watch. I wanted to get excited the entire time. I had like some cope going that there was a chance that maybe they could come back and win it, but I mean it just felt like they were totally overmatched. The thing is though, that really sucks is like Darnold was shitting down his leg basically from the jump of the game. And you could tell McDonald was just taking the ball out of his hands. Like he just wanted to run the ball. He didn't want Darnold to make any mistakes. And I just don't, I know they didn't get the 4th and 1 or whatever. I just felt like, I don't want to put too much blame on Kyle or anything, but just generally, I think that they didn't really understand the assignment of this game. Like the Niners needed to stay on the field no matter what. I think they should have been going for it. There was like 4th and 1s on, their own 35 and 40 that they passed up. And it's like, literally they punt the ball away. And it's like, 40 seconds of real time later, 2 crazy, just runs with no resistance. And like all of a sudden Seattle's just where they were. So they might as well have gone for it because the Niners D already is not good. It's already really bad. The only chance they have is if they can control the ball and get the defense some rest. But instead, it was just they literally left the defense on the field the entire first half. It was just, it was not a recipe for winning. It's got me feeling pretty pessimistic. I mean, this whole season, I kind of felt like, if they could win one game in the playoffs, that'd be really cool. I think we all kind of talked ourselves into maybe a chance at making an NFC championship game or soupy. Which could, it was maybe possible. Now it just doesn't. It feels like if they play Philly, like Philly might be an even better version of the Seattle team. Like their defense is just as good. I mean, Hurts, I think they've won 3 games this year where Hurts didn't complete a pass in the second half. So like their offense doesn't have to do anything. They just run the ball with Barkley.
First half, I think.
Oh, is it first half?
Yeah.
So things aren't looking great, but I don't know. You never know. I would really like to see. I don't know if you touched on this. I'm kind of pissed that Pearsall wasn't out there. Even as a boy, like literally, they had. I mean, all they had
needed him today.
They needed him. They had a banged up Juwan Jennings, who already is not the fastest guy. They had a banged up McCaffrey, who's clearly like playing through it. No Trent Williams. Kittle is gutting it out. It's like they had no speed. They literally had no team speed. So it was like their drives were like, can we complete? Okay, let's run it for 2 yards with McCaffrey. Then can we complete a 3-yard pass? And then, okay, now it's 3rd and 3. Can we, it just was brutal. Like there was no big plays. And I don't know. I mean, I really thought that Brock played well. I don't know about you guys. I thought all things considered, I thought Brock looked really good. I hope he's okay. I feel like wrote down in my notes. Okay. Good. I
didn't see that. What did Shanahan say?
Shanahan said that the trainer said he could have gone back out there if they had another drive.
He got smoked, man. He got smoked.
Played all right. He had no time, and he couldn't even find lanes to run. He had that one run where he got the first down, but to me, the 49ers, we've talked about this the last couple of years. This is the problem why they lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, because the Chiefs just manhandled them on the receivers because they can't get separation. They have no ability, and that's what they drafted Pearsall for, and he's glass. The guy's never available. I mean, how do you play last week and then you're not available for the biggest game of the year?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a different thought. I personally would trade him in the offseason. I've seen enough. I mean, it's not that he's not a good guy. It's not that he's not a good player. It's just that there's no durability there, and it stands out like a sore thumb. You're in the same wide receiver room with Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings is getting smoked and repeatedly, and just keeps showing up and keeps getting up and keeps going, and you get hit, and all of a sudden it's like you're out immediately. So yeah, I think that's a guy that I would probably look to move in the offseason. I mean, heck, if I could get Brian Thomas for him, I think I would try to do it. We got plenty of time to discuss that. The bottom line is when you watch the 49ers, when Pearsall's not out there and they haven't gotten, their last 2 4th-round picks, Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing, both wide receivers that run in the 4-3s, both are absolutely not doing, crap for this team. Neither of these guys do anything. And it's like you're just too slow. You're too slow. I mean, and here's the other thing. Seattle struggled defending the tight end this year. Tonjes is coming off of a tremendous game. He's got unbelievable hands. So you throw him no balls. I mean, that's 10 times fucking stupid. I can't even. That's so idiotic. I can't even. Even fathom that. You've got a tight end going up against a team that doesn't defend the tight end, and you don't throw him.
Tonjes doesn't even play. Yeah,
you don't throw him any passes. Jordan Watkins, you can't cultivate anything out of your speed. You have no speed. I mean, think about this. Bourne runs in the 4.6s. Kittle runs in the 4.7s. JJ runs in the 4.7s. If you don't have Pearsall, who runs in the 4.4s, you're the slowest team in the league. You don't have any. So, like, the 49ers are a team that have to win their way. They got to get a lead, and they got to hold on, and they got to, they cannot play from behind. I mean,
did you see the stat?
They were down 13-3 in this game. It felt like they were down 4 touchdowns because they were just so buried and so unable to unearth any kind of explosive play. They have no big play explosiveness in their offense to speak of. None.
What was the stat? You probably didn't see it,
38-1.
Larry, but what was it? 1 and what?
1 in 38.
They're 1 in 38 since Kyle's tenure in the fourth quarter when they are down by 7 or more. 1 in 38.
Yeah, I mean they're not a throw it all over the place kind of a team. They want to win. They want to run the ball in the second half. And
Kyle, you might want to like when you're moving the ball with 10, 11 minutes to go and you're down 2 scores, you might not want to take your time because you may not get a chance to score twice when you and he does this all the time. I've been harping on this for years. When you're down and you can't move the ball and all of a sudden you start moving it and, keep the pressure on the defense, you need 2 scores. And you've proven you haven't been able to stop Seattle all night long on the ground. So you might need those 2 scores. You need the clock in your favor. And what does he do? They did get it down there with 7, 8 minutes to go in the interception. The ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage. Purdy's throw was, tipped, but still CMC should have had that. It hit him right in the hands.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing too. It's like there's only so many possessions in an NFL game. The 49ers in this game had a total of 8 possessions. They had 8 possessions in the game. And on their second possession, they get to 4th and 2 from the 43.
It was a third possession.
It was their second possession, right? Yeah, the second possession. Niners' first possession, they went 3 and out. The second possession for the 49ers, they got the ball on their own 35. They went 3 and out again. It was 4th and 2 from the 43-yard line, and they punted it. I mean, it's like, you're only going to have in a game like this so many chances, and it's like 4th and 3 from the 43 in a game where it's only 7-0. That's probably one of the better chances you're going to get as far as you just can't keep assuming that it's going to be better opportunities later in the game. I mean, 4th and 3 from the 43. I mean, we're no longer in this era where you play this field position game. I mean, it's a modern game. You play possessions, and for them to punt there, I thought that was incredibly conservative, considering how crappy their defense is, and they know it.
Totally agree with you. And Cal was coaching tonight like he coached most of last year. He's been far more objective about having success this year than he has been last year. And I was frustrated by that. So, I mean, when they go into the playoffs, if you lose, then go ahead and lose. But play to win. I mean, Larry, I can tell that Cal respects you because when you ask him a question, he gives you a pretty straight answer. It'll be interesting to hear him speak to his decision-making on the 4th and 1s, on the 4th and 2s, because, I mean, he has to take more chances when clearly his team is not as talented as the opposition, which I think was the case tonight. Maybe he doesn't believe that. But going 4th and 1, to me, is not the riskiest thing in the world. I don't understand. I mean, he went 4th and 1, but he threw a pass. He didn't run it. So between running and passing, it would be interesting to get his perspective on what his thinking is.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing. I wanted to see them, the one where they kicked the field goal. It was 4th and 3 from the 30. And you're down 10-0, and it's your last possession before the first half. And to me, to kick the field goal there, I mean, yeah, you're getting the ball back in the third quarter, and it's a long game and all. But I mean, come on. I mean, I personally, you had some momentum going there. They had the flea flicker on that thing. They had the Purdy scramble. Purdy, found Kittle in tight coverage. I mean, there were some decent plays on that drive, and you get to the 30-yard line, you're down 2 scores. I mean, if you're really trying to win the game, I think I wanted to see them go for it there as well. I mean, that's 3 drives in a row that you got down to a 4th and 3, you kick the field goal. On the 4th and 1, you threw a pass from Purdy to Juszczyk, and on a 4th and 2, you punted. I mean, I don't know, man. I just think that, that's old school thinking. I think the new modern thinking is that you go for it much more on 4th down. And also it's like, I mean, go back to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. I mean, the Niners had like a 3rd and 8, and what did they do? They passed it, and then they didn't go for it at that point. They went for it on 3rd down. The modern philosophy is run it and get to 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 and then go for it. And instead they went pass play,
not with Kyle. Not with Kyle. He doesn't do that.
He's kind of an old school thinker on that front. So, I mean, I just think that when you look at it, I mean, what did Seattle do in this game? Seattle got down to 4th and goal on the 4 on the first drive, and they weren't kicking field goals. Darnold went to Cooper Kupp. Now they didn't convert, but I mean, that they showed some aggressiveness there. I would love to have seen them be a little bit more aggressive.
Larry, don't you think? I mean, it seemed like Kyle abandoned the run early on tonight. I mean, they only had 12 rushes as a team, besides Purdy's couple of scrambles, but 12 rushes, 8 for McCaffrey. Oh no, including Brock's running.
Yeah, he had 2.
So 2 and Robinson too. 12 rushes the whole game, and is like
CMC got 3 carries in the first half.
Yeah, they just completely abandoned the run. And I think what happened was McDonald knew. I think McDonald has Kyle's number. If you remember the game 2 years ago when Purdy had 4 or 5 interceptions that night against Baltimore, but stacked the box and dared the receivers who couldn't move to get open. Juszczyk you're giving the ball to Juszczyk and he was open if Brock threw it right away. He left the backfield and Brock needed to throw it, boom, and he would have picked up the first, but he waited and then he threw it to the flat. But Juszczyk on Kittle's injured. You talked about Jennings being slow. I don't get it. I would have loved to see the 49ers. This was the year, in my opinion, where you could have developed Watkins early on in the season when you had some of those games that were winnable, and you could have got him some playing time. I heard Kyle say something like he's got to beat other guys in practice. Well, those are veterans. Sometimes guys show up in game times. You got to give them some game time sometimes.
Well, I just think to the point that we were making earlier about the Niners only winning one way, if they're going to be a team now where when they face a good defense, they're going to drop back this many times, and Purdy dropped back 27 times. They had 10 designed runs and then 2 Purdy scrambles. So 27 pass attempts to 10 rushes. If that's going to be their the way that they play against a good run defense, they're going to have to look inward. If we're going into the playoffs and you're playing against good defenses, we're going to have to look inward into the team, the play calling, the personnel, and something's going to have to change, because rolling it out there, I don't like that we didn't pass the ball to Jake Tonjes today. Why is he not getting any targets? If you're going to be a purely passing offense, you can't run out the same slow guys and the same personnel and expect something different when they rely so heavily on a play action. And I just didn't like some of the play calling. Why on 4th and 1 we're going play action? We're going play action on 4th and 1 instead of sneaking it. I don't think if we snuck the ball there and didn't get it, I don't think anyone's saying we should have gone play action there. That was the play. That was the move that was going to get. It's just, I think something's got to change with how they're approaching these teams if they're going to drop back 60% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that the good and bad news is that there's just not that many good defenses even left in the playoffs. To be honest, I mean, the Rams have a good defense, but they can absolutely be had through the passing game. I mean, we saw that in the game when Mac Jones played them second round. It's really Seattle and Philly. Those are the two really kind of great defenses in the NFC. Unfortunately, it's really looking like they're probably going to play Philly, which is bad.
Philly's not necessarily playing all that well right now. They're not necessarily killing it. So, it's not that it's for sure they're going to lose to Philly, but yeah, I mean, it's this season to me. Okay, let me ask you guys this. They lose this game, they lose the potential for the 1 seed. Their Super Bowl hopes are dealt a serious blow. What's success now? Do they need if they duck out next week in Philly, has this been a successful year? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, I thought they were going to go 11-6. They finished 12-5. So they were even one game better than I thought they were in the regular season. But to me, you had to win a playoff game. And if they don't win a playoff game, I don't think it's a good year. And I know maybe some people might think that's a too high of a standard, but I don't think that's crazy. You had a cake schedule at the beginning of the year. You're almost guaranteed of being a playoff team. So to me, making the playoffs and winning a game once you get there, I think is a reasonable expectation for success. What do you guys view as success?
I would agree with you. I don't think that losing to Philly in a competitive game is a bad season, but it's not a successful season. I totally agree with you. I mean, when you look at the 49ers, you look at this market, you look at the history, they expect to be one of the best teams in the NFL, which means making the playoffs and challenging for a Super Bowl. So I agree with you.
What do you guys think is success? What's going to be success? What do you view as, okay, you know what? It was a successful year. What do they need to do?
I think they do need to win a game in the playoffs, but why does this defense have so many holes in the line? I mean, I've never seen a defensive line that gets run up on, where they can't stop the run and they can't rush the pass. I mean, the defensive line is atrocious. It's like one of the worst in football because they don't do anything well.
And they got no guys that make plays. Like it's stupid and just it sounds dumb to say that, but just nobody makes plays on this. Like just even that fumble, the ball being out and right in I think it was Gross Matos' hands.
It was.
I think it was Cleve Farrell. Might have been Cleve Farrell.
It was Gross Matos.
It was Gross.
It was Gross Matos, or there was
92.
It was Matos. 94.
92. Okay.
94.
Yeah, it was him.
But it's like, I don't know. There's teams all over the league that just make plays. Like the Bears defense is actually booty cheeks. It's complete booty cheeks. Most people from Chicago will tell you it's booty cheeks, but they for some reason are able to pull like a zillion interceptions and force fumbles and all this stuff out of their ass. So it's like they're competitive. This Niners defense, like Sam Darnold wants to give you the ball. Like he's been doing it pretty much for the entire second half of the season. You put any pressure, doesn't even have to be like real pressure from your defense. Just if there's any game pressure, if it's close enough, like he will give the ball away. I knew the Niners wouldn't do anything with it. Like I knew coming in, like there's just no chance. Like, and the only sacks they ever get are like in the most low leverage situations, like the end of the half where it doesn't even matter. Or, I mean, they have less sacks than Myles Garrett. Like what? Like this team, it's like it's a crappy. It's like what is good about this defense? There's nothing that's good about it, and they don't turn the ball over. They don't sack the quarterback. Like it literally is just a bunch of generic like nobodies on this defense.
No, I mean it's true. It's like they have a young secondary. They have a line that doesn't get any sacks, and they have linebackers who can't cover at all in a passing league. So you can't have linebackers that don't cover, a super young secondary that's losing confidence because there's no pass rush, and no pass rush, none. And here's the other thing. It's like the Niners are going to have tough questions to answer no matter what, because if they had won this game tonight and they were the number 1 seed, guess what's a fair question? Why the fuck didn't a team that was the number 1 seed trade for anybody of significance at the trade deadline and prepare to, make a run at the Super Bowl? You're the number 1 seed. So in some ways, the fact that they don't get the number 1 seed saves them the embarrassment of being non-competitive at the trade deadline. Where was the help? I mean, it wasn't like, oh my God, I couldn't envision that they would need help. What? They lost Nick Bosa in like week 3. They lost Fred Warner in week 6. I kind of feel like, they get what they deserve because they really didn't They, I don't know if it was Jed saying we're not going to spend the money, if it was Lynch and Shanahan who don't believe in this team and didn't believe in their roster, but it will always play. They'll always play it to the public like, well, nobody believed in us. You know what? No, you didn't believe in you. You didn't believe in you. You had an ability to trade for somebody at the trade deadline and didn't. You needed an additional pass rusher and got nothing. And or should we be surprised that you have absolutely no rush? I've been calling for weeks for them to look at other teams' practice squads for younger, faster linebackers that can cover, because I've noticed that their linebackers are slow as shit and can't cover anybody. And they haven't done it. Instead, they doubled down on their veterans, bringing in, Eric Kendricks. Eric Kendricks had horseshit numbers last year as a pass defender. He can't cover anymore. I mean, maybe he could have covered 3 years ago, but he can't cover anymore. And you don't have any linebackers that can cover. Did you go out and try to find one on somebody else's practice squad? Nope. You just stayed with what you have. So in a lot of ways, they deserve what they get. I don't think that they believed in themselves. And if there was one question I would love to ask Shanahan and Lynch, it's like, you guys could have added pieces at the deadline, but you chose not to. Why is that? Was that an edict from the ownership not to spend another rusty nickel? Is that your belief that it wasn't going to matter either way? But I'd like some answers. I'd like a little bit more transparency when it comes to their decision making, and not just this, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. Over here, it's like, hey, we think we got a shot. We really believe in ourselves. You guys don't believe in us. But then when it's time for them to invest, it's like, well, they didn't invest. Well, why not? Is it that we didn't believe in you, or was it that you don't believe in you? And I resent the fact that they play this both sides. They play this BS game back and forth over they didn't improve their team, and they don't want to own the fact that they didn't improve their team. They just want to be like, hey, nobody believes in us. No, you didn't believe in you. That's why you didn't make a move to get anybody at the deadline. And if you had, maybe you'd be better. I mean, it's quite remarkable that they had such a glaring need and it went unfilled. And now here we are weeks later, and guess what? They're done. They're done because there's no moves to make. There's nothing they can do at this point to help their situation. Or even if they did have guys that because other teams are still picking up guys, they show no interest in it, no interest at all in being creative. It's like everybody that they've acquired is like somebody they've had before, know all about. It's very, very conservative and very uninspiring at the trade deadline. And they needed help. They didn't get it. And not surprisingly, they're not very good right now at rushing the passer because they didn't get any help. And the bigger question is, why do they keep drafting like shit? Why do they keep drafting Drake Jacksons of the world? Why don't you draft a fucking defensive lineman that can play? Why don't you draft a fucking linebacker that can play? They can't draft worth shit right now, and it's killing them. It's absolutely killing them. And that's really the issue more than anything. You've got this, you're looking up at Eric Kendricks, Garrett Wallow, Cleveland Farrell, Keon White. Who the fuck are these guys? Where's your first, second, third, fourth, fifth round draft choices? Where are the players that you should have invested in? I mean, it's like, nobody wants to be critical of John Lynch, the general manager, but where are the fucking players? Where are the players?
It's 2026.
Nobody's banging on Robert Saleh right now. Why? Because these guys are horseshit. What? We going to hold Robert Saleh's feet to the fire because Garrett Wallow can't play linebacker?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a combination of things. I do agree with you in some aspects. Like, yeah, it does. There was like a little bit of a taste of, like, a lot of 49ers fans had the taste in their mouth after the trade deadline of, we're just going to take this team as far as we can go with what we got. And that the Niners front office is just kind of thinking, like, we're in a certain situation where we're down a certain amount of men, and they're never going to say that this isn't our year, but it kind of became their year a little bit later in the year once things developed and they won some games. So obviously hindsight, it's like maybe they should have tried a little bit harder. I agree with that, but it's like some of these injuries, man, it's just it's two things. Like, obviously they don't have the depth, they haven't drafted well, but I mean, losing Fred Warner, losing Nick Bosa, losing Mikael Williams, your first round draft pick, it's like some of those things. It's just unfortunate, I think.
Let me ask you guys a question, because and I'm not at practice, and but I do watch football. I did play football. Why doesn't Alfred Collins play more? I don't understand it. I mean, he came in the game. He made a couple of plays tonight, actually. But I was like, is he not active? Why doesn't he play, Larry? I mean, anybody.
Well,
Why do you got
I think his snaps have gone up as the season has gone on. I'd have to look at the snap count. I mean, the box score doesn't show us the
I
snap
think they
count.
take him out on third down, right?
He's
I
not-
didn't see him out
he
there a
doesn't-
lot tonight. That's what
Yeah, he
I
doesn't give you.
it.
He's not much of a pass rusher,
Right.
right? So in a passing game, he's much more of a first and second down guy.
Well, to
I
me,
think that's
to
really the
me,
reason.
I think they should have him out there on third down. Why? Because nobody gets any pressure, and at least he's got big hands that, like Chris Jones, and he could go up. Tonight, he almost intercepted that ball that he knocked down.
Well, how
had
many
it-
snaps did he play tonight? Do we know? Is there, Kev? Can you look up how many snaps Collins played tonight? I think he probably played a good chunk of the snaps. Now, there
know
weren't a
if I
lot
have
of
it.
snaps in this game.
I mean, don't you
Um,
agree though, Larry? If you're not going to get pressure, why not have a big guy that you got to throw over? He's 6'5". His reach has got to be over 7 feet.
Yeah, I mean, their lack of pass rush is not about him though. He's a run defender,
Yeah.
but I mean,
That's what I'm saying though. They don't rush the passer anyway, so why not get somebody up with hands?
yeah.
It's-
I mean,
it's-
my feeling on it is he's playing kind of a lot of snaps, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know what he played tonight.
Just to bring it back to your like original question about like what is success this year. Like I'll repose the question. Like given where the Niners are, like given the fact that they're a younger team with a lot of injuries, a lot of development needed to be had, like are you not satisfied with where they got to this season? Like we're talking about a 12-5 team. They're obviously not the 1 seed. I think if anyone said in week 3 that, or week 5, 6 after they lost Fred Warner, if they're not the 1 seed, they failed this year. Like, because that's kind of how we're talking right now. I kind of feel like it still is a little bit of success. And I guess you kind of have to be like, are you in the camp of, when they get this close, it's a failure, or whether if they don't win the Super Bowl, or can you just be happy with the fact that a team that probably wasn't meant to do much is doing something, at least at this point?
How about they did good, which is kind of like okay, but not great. I mean, not horrible,
I mean, there's lots of ways to look at it, right? I mean, they've got $103 million in dead money. Okay. So they have more dead cap than almost anybody in football. I think only the Jets and the Raiders have more dead cap. So in a way, they were trying to compete this year with one arm tied behind their back because they have all this dead cap. But that dead cap is directly related to their horrible decisions. So I mean, the dead cap doesn't create itself. It creates itself when you start giving Deebo Samuel tons of money and all these guys who can't play dead, and all of a sudden they get old and you get rid of them, and now you've got all this dead cap. So the Niners had $103 million in dead cap. So it is kind of a remarkable. I think that's probably the number one reason that they didn't get more aggressive at the trade deadline, because they know that they've got $100 million. This wasn't on paper their go for it year, but they also had their quarterback in the super prime. You also had a really easy schedule, and who knows if Trent Williams or George Kittle or Nick Bosa or any of these guys are going to be healthy in the future. So you don't know. This might be your best opportunity. And it was a kind of a down year overall for the conference. So there was, but personally, I don't think, when their schedule was so cake, that I can't say that it was a good year just to make the playoffs. I think you got to win a game in the playoffs. If they go to Philly and beat Philly and they wind up falling short of their goal, so be it. But if they go to Philly and duck out in the first round and lose, I can't. This team is judges itself based on Lombardi's. You're not even going to get to the conference title game, and you're going to sit there and try to celebrate this as a positive season. No way. Don't be afraid to have high standards. Don't be afraid to try to live up to high standards. And, high standards are okay. We don't have to have low standards. You can have high standards. You can say it's been a horseshit year when you make the playoffs and don't win a game. So
here's another counterpoint. Here's a counterpoint. I think the Niners got beat badly today, like very, very badly. And if we're gonna sit here and say, I mean, again, I am partly on board with the fact that they didn't make enough moves. I think that they pretty much. I mean, Kyle Shanahan basically admitted when they asked him about it, like he thought that 2019 team when they traded for a receiver was a player away from making contention. He said that this team is not a player away. Do you think the Niners are a player away in this game against the Seahawks from winning this game? I don't think so.
Here's the thing.
Pretty obvious the Seahawks are a much better team.
Here's the thing. I don't give a shit. I don't care if they're not a player away. These motherfuckers have been running this thing for 7 fucking years. Okay, so I don't care if they're not a player away. It's all their fault. All right. So I don't want to hear about, well, they're not really this. If you're not a player away, your whole predicament, every single coach, every single player, everybody that is in this organization is there because they handpicked them. So I don't want to hear about, well, we didn't quite have enough. If you didn't have enough, it's your fault.
I just hate to disappoint you, Larry, but
who's signing the free agents? Not me, not Dan, not Frank, not you. We're not signing the free agents. Who's drafting these guys? Who's drafting guys that can't play dead? Who's drafting guys in the 3rd round that can't see the field? Not me. Okay, so I mean, I'm not to blame for that. So this whole it wasn't quite their year and this and that. When's it going to be their year? When's it going to be their year? When's it? No more. There's a gigantic sign on the wall in the locker room. And it says, here are the 49er team rules. And there's hardly any team rules. It's be on time, protect the team, and don't make any fucking excuses. I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't want to hear about the roster. I don't want to hear about this or that or an injury here, an injury there. You've been doing this for 7 years.
Try 9.
9 years, whatever. I don't want to hear excuses, man. Don't tell me about they're not good enough here. Everything has been handpicked by the people who run this team. So they have to own it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a little more on Kev's side. Even that was a great rant, Larry. I got to give it to you.
I just don't. I don't believe in soft peddling this thing and being like, well, well, it's
really is it John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan's fault that Mikael Williams, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa missed the entire season? Like that's the core of their defense that they missed. Is that on the front office?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's on. You have to draft enough guys to get through the year. So I mean, that bottom line is nobody made them draft Mikael Williams with the 11th pick overall. I mean, there's better players that were taken after him that they could have had. But as far as injuries are not just a coverall. You don't just get the coverall. Well, we were hurt. Really? You're just going to go with that? Oh, well, we were hurt. I mean. Really? I mean,
we're talking about
that seems like a very convenient excuse for almost every time. Almost every football team that's not good enough, it's because they don't have enough good players. So whose fault is that? It ain't the guy in the upper deck's fault. It ain't anybody sitting here on this panel's fault. So I'm tired of giving guys free passes for horseshit. If we need to, I will bring up the draft classes and we'll show them. If people don't remember history and they need a history lesson.
Oh, I mean, we've done that. I understand, but it's just like,
do we need a history lesson on?
We're talking about a team that if they just made the playoffs, they haven't been eliminated yet. They just lost a bad game.
I think I ran through all those a couple weeks ago. It's the worst. It's pretty much the worst.
Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way, guys. The Niners, if somehow they are able to beat Philly, they are more than likely going to play. Let's see, 7-2, right? 7 plays 2, so that they'll probably have to go back to Seattle if they win, because the Rams will probably beat whoever they play, Carolina or Tampa.
Is this
so
what we're supposed to be excited about?
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing?
So they're gonna go. They're gonna have to go back to Seattle.
It's the team that just destroyed them.
Right.
The good news is the team that just blew their doors off. You get to play there at their place.
But there's a possibility that they could end up playing the Rams in SoFi and then you never know. I don't know. I don't see how they're gonna. I don't think they get past Philly personally.
Let me say this.
I don't think they get past Philly.
I want to go back to the comment, is this season a success
Yeah.
if they win or lose? With the exception of the Carolina Panthers, any team that makes the playoffs in the AFC and the NFC, if they don't make the playoffs, if they don't win at least one games, it's not a successful season.
That's true. That's true. Except for maybe the Steelers. The Steelers.
No, they all. I mean, they're going to be all.
They
over
even won a
Dominic.
playoff game since 2017.
No way. I mean, if they don't win a playoff game, they might not even make the playoffs. But if they make the playoffs and they don't win the playoff games, they're going to be running Tomlin, fire Tomlin, get him out of here.
Okay,
So,
but
it is about winning. That's what it's about.
The bottom line on this thing is this organization, this regime, and they took over and they said, we want to build a dominant defensive line. We believe in building a dominant defensive line. We believe that's the way you win. Okay, that was coming into the 2017 season. Here are the defensive linemen. This is a team that has stated that they want to be dominant on the defensive line. And here are the defensive linemen that they have drafted. Solomon Thomas, DJ Jones, Julian Taylor, Kentavious Street, Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, Kalia Davis, Drake Jackson. I mean, do you see what I'm saying here? Robert Beal. These are the defensive linemen that a team that wants to be great on the defensive line has drafted. And then this year, Mikael Williams, Alfred Collins, CJ West. But I mean, their track record of drafting defensive linemen sucks. Stinks. They're not draft. Most of those guys can't play dead. And this was where their stated goal of where they wanted to build around. That's fail. I mean, that's straight up failure. So, I mean, it's,
I'll give you that. I mean, they failed drafting defensive linemen, but as a season, for the season,
they have no pass rush.
For the season, though, I'm not saying that this team is a complete failure just because they didn't win the number 1 seed against the Seahawks. I mean, it's just that I just can't get off that.
That's fine, but I mean, they had the easiest schedule in the league by far, but
it wasn't that easy.
No.
And then
before the season,
it was 11 and I had them going 11-6. They wound up going 12-5.
And the Seahawks and Rams were like 2 of the 6 greatest DVOA teams of all time.
Yeah, they had to play them twice.
But I mean, they played a bunch of shitbirds. I mean, do we need?
I think that if anything, I would give them credit. I mean, yeah, I don't want to be the loser that's like, oh yeah, I'm just good. I'm just happy. Everyone gets a trophy, everyone participation trophies for everyone. But they did battle a lot of adversity, and we're talking about them like they already lost. They haven't lost. They're still in contention. They're playing from behind. It's like a transition year. There's a lot of things that were going against them. The schedule is much harder than anticipated. Their division has 2 of the best teams in the NFL in it, and they have to play them twice. I just think that they deserve more credit than you're giving them.
And if you look at their schedule, they pretty much beat all the shitbirds. That's why I think they're the good bad team. They didn't really beat any good teams after they lost Warner. They beat Seattle week 1, but they were fully healthy.
The Rams.
They played Jacksonville, lost to them. They did beat the Rams. So
what's the best win of the year?
They lost to Tampa, who's maybe a playoff team,
or the Seahawks, I guess.
Yeah, maybe the Bears. I mean,
yeah.
Lost to Houston, kind of really the playoff teams they lost to, except for they beat Chicago and they beat the Rams in that crazy Thursday night game.
I don't know. I mean, it's just they got wins against the Giants, the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Browns, the Titans, the Colts. I mean, these are bad teams. And it's just it's frustrating because I mean, I personally I don't think it's bad to hold the team to high standards. They hold themselves to high standards, you would think. And why should the fan standards be higher than the team standards? I mean, if that's the case, times have changed in Ninerland, because it used to be the Niners held themselves to the highest standards, much higher than the fans would hold them to. And now the fans are holding them to higher standards and they're holding themselves to. We're welcoming in JD. JD, what'd you think of this one? It wasn't a great game by any stretch, but give us your takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, big takeaway is, Seattle's defense coming into Levi's and slowing down the 49er offense, which had been just on absolute fire and winning this team games left and right. The job that they did, I thought both sides of the ball in terms of owning the line of scrimmage. Brock Purdy was moving around, uncomfortable. The timing of the 49ers offense was off. The Niners couldn't run the ball and really, I think, went away from the run, even before they proved to not be able to run it throughout the game. And, I give the defense credit, I guess, because you look up at the scoreboard and the Niners have the football in a 13-3 game, and they're driving down inside the 5-yard line to try and make it a 13-10 game before the ball goes off Christian McCaffrey's hands for an interception. But I would not mistake that for saying that the defense played well in this game. They got completely dominated at the line of scrimmage. The Seahawks damn near ran for 200 yards on them, which I think was, as I've said a few times, kind of the template for what teams are going to try to do. But you give the Niners credit throughout the season. They've held up enough and I think put enough pressure on some of these other teams with their offense to where maybe they haven't been able to stick to the run in the way that Seattle felt they could by getting out and going right down the field and just owning the line of scrimmage, even though they didn't score on that opening possession because they kind of botched the 1st and goal from the 1, and the Niners had the great stand there. And then the first of a couple of missed field goals certainly helped the 49ers. But, the offense didn't have it tonight, which I think is the number one headline. But I think the Seahawks defense made the 49er offense not have it. This is by far the best defense the 49ers have faced since the Houston game, going back to the end of October. By far the best defensive front the 49ers have faced since then. And so I know you guys were having the debate. I was listening to it about, who have they beaten, who have they not? I mean, the Niners they've got some quality wins, but they've got, Seattle and LA early and the Bears late. But you know what? They also got beat by Houston and Jacksonville and the Rams and Seattle. Like, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like, I don't think it's really a failure. And the pathway for this team, at least in my estimation, I'll just give you my take on it. The pathway for this team to the playoffs was going to be beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. Even when Fred Warner went down in Tampa, there were plenty of games that they had an opportunity to win. And you guys said it. They won basically all of those games and then beat the Bears on top of it. The Colts game kind of opened up as the season went on. That looked like it was going to be a more difficult game than it wound up being, but they went in there and handled business on Monday Night Football. And they're a playoff team. They're a wild card team. I think when it's all said and done, the Rams are probably going to beat Arizona tomorrow because they want to get the 5 seed themselves. And the Niners are going to wind up 3rd in the NFC West, and they're going to wind up with the 6 seed. And I think that's about right for where this team was in terms of the overall talent once you factor in the injuries and the loss of Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. So I know tonight's not a night where anybody wants to hear that. And it's frustrating because everybody was geared up for the possibility of all these games at Levi's and getting to the Super Bowl at Levi's and Fred Warner coming back and maybe winning a Super Bowl. And that's not to say that they can't do that. I think the Niners can beat anybody on their schedule ahead of them. Now, can they beat 3 teams among the group that they're going to have to play to do it? I think that's where it becomes a taller task, but it's not a night where anybody wants to hear it because there's so much frustration and there was so much hope and optimism, and they really did get manhandled at both ends at the line of scrimmage, which set the tone for the whole game. But I think when you take a step back from that in the moment, this has been a pretty successful season that is, as Kev said, is not over yet. We'll just wait and have to see who they're going to play after the games shake out tomorrow.
More to blame on the defense or the offense? See, the defense, had no Bosa, had no Warner, has no McHale. There's reasons that the defense is not good. But the offense, Seahawks dominated this first half. They outgained the Niners in the first half by 127 yards. The 49ers only had 3 first downs in the entire first half at home on a dry night on their home field.
They weren't inside their own 30, or they weren't inside the Seahawks 30 until the fourth quarter, and that was the only time they got in there.
Well, it
That's
was.
what I'm saying.
It was
Do
it was the
you blame
fewest
the
yards.
offense?
It was at the end of the third quarter. It was the fewest yards in the Shanahan era through 3 quarters. It was the fewest yards in the entire Shanahan era since 2017 that the 49ers had through 3 quarters before they had the drive in the fourth that ended up with the interception. They hadn't scored 3 points since 2017 in a game. So yeah, I mean, to your point, Krug, I'll just answer it real short and sweet. I mean, yeah, there's more. If you're looking for the blame, I mean, the blame is the offense, because the offense it's on record that the offense has to carry this team and be able to set up the defense, to not have to be perfect. And look, the defense hung in. We all understand the reasons why they're in the position they're in. Like, I give them credit for hanging in with what they've got. I wouldn't mistake that for the defense playing well tonight when you get beat the way that they got beat. But no, we've said it for weeks. The Niners have to push 30 points, if not get over, to win a game. Tonight, it maybe didn't even have to be that. It could have been 23 or 20, and they would have had action, but they were unable to get to that point. So no, I think if you're looking for a blame more, which side of the ball, it's without question the offense. But I also think it's fair to look at, I mean, this is legitimately the best defensive front that they faced in a long time. And, I think it's also fair, and people aren't going to like to say this, but I'll throw it at you guys. It's also fair to kind of wonder, were the Niners cooking the books a little bit offensively against some of the opponents that they'd been able to face of late? Just a little. They've been making it happen. You give them credit for it. But to think they were going to do that against Seattle, especially once you took Pearsall and Trent Williams away, maybe that was a bit of a stretch to believe that it was just going to be that kind of automatic.
I think you're right, JD, because I think you're right, JD, because I think there was a lot of false hope with the last 2 games, because it's like you're coming off 2 games where you have historic offensive numbers, and then you think, okay, yeah, the Seattle defense is good, but we're firing on all cylinders here. Obviously, they just can't hang. I think the thing is like, if you look at their losses this year, 4 of their 5 losses have come against top 5 or top 10 defenses. Like that would be concerning to me. Like, that's pretty concerning to me. They're losing. The only wins they have against top 10 defenses were before week 5, or 5 and earlier, being the Seahawks and the Rams. So it's like, since week 5, all of your losses have been against top 10 defenses outside of the Bucs. And now you're going, if you're playing Philly's is a top 5 defense. They're the number 5 defense in EPA per play. I think that they're going to be a huge threat for the Niners. I think that you might be lucky if the Eagles win, the Bears lose, and somehow you match up with Chicago, because that would be, obviously you just beat them, but like that might be a better matchup for you.
Well, we haven't even talked about the reality of tonight, which is that D. Winters has got a new ankle injury. Tatum Bethune's got a groin injury. They both left the game with injuries. Both of those guys may not play in the playoff opener. So then what? What do you got? You got nothing. You got absolutely nothing. You got Garrett Wallow. I mean, you got no linebackers to speak of. Trent Williams didn't play today. I didn't see how Austin Pleasance did, but couldn't have been spectacular. Ricky Pearsall couldn't get out there today. I don't know what to say about him. He seems like he plays a game, then he's hurt all the time. I don't want to rip Ricky, but Ricky's glass. I mean, it's just the bottom line. He's just always hurt. I mean, it's like, sorry for noticing. I'm the asshole for noticing that this guy's glass. Were
you surprised, Krug, that he ended up not playing? Because I felt like trending the week he was gonna play. I know limited at practice, but
Shanahan said after the game that if the game was on Sunday, that he thought there was a much better chance for Pearsall to play, which seems like it's pretty that means he's pretty close to being right. I don't know.
I was stunned when he showed up inactive, and I got to Levi's pretty early and was talking to a few people, and I was kind of hearing that it sounded like he wasn't going to go, and I was like, what? Really? Like,
what's the injury? What is the injury?
He's actually not going to go, and so that surprised me.
I actually had somebody from the Niners come up to me in the pregame in the elevator, said Pearsall's not going to go, and gave me a look. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
He's not going to go? And then the guy gave me a look like he's not going to go, like somehow there was some internal discontent. But I mean, what the hell? I mean, this guy went out with a PCL injury and missed 6 weeks, and it looked like it was a bone bruise, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was listed as a knee and ankle is what it was listed as for on Thursday when they listed the official designation. So that's interesting because you got that read because it I just was surprised to hear that it didn't sound like I didn't get the read that you got, Krug, but I was going into the stadium today thinking Ricky Pearsall was going to play, Trent Williams was not going to play. And when I heard Ricky was not going to play, I was just like, really? He's not going to play? Like, it's a playoff. It might not be finished the last game. Like,
right.
It might not be like internal. It's probably just more like internal frustration with their situation. Like they probably knew they needed him. Like they did. They needed Pearsall today badly. And like, yeah, I mean, if you're anyone who's tied to this Niners team and you're invested in them winning, having your first round draft pick of 2 years ago not available in the biggest game of the season when you need him absolutely the most, like, yeah, I would be pretty frustrated.
What do you guys think?
I think the offense is, I mean, the defense was bad tonight, but at the end of the day, points are points. 13 points. That's what they gave up. If they had scored 14, they would have won tonight. So I hear the people who said that because they weren't good in key moments of this game. Like when there were moments where the defense could rise up and make a real stop, they didn't get it. So
3rd and 17, you give up a 19-yard run on a toss play.
JD, did you see John Lynch up in the booth on that play? John Lynch looked like he wanted to bite somebody's head off.
It's a give-up play. It's a give-up play by the Seahawks.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna get 7 yards and
punt. Yeah. And instead, horseshit tackling by 5 different fucking guys, and he rumbles for 15 yards on 3rd and 13. I mean, that right there. I mean, if they could have called the game right then and there, they could have said ball game. All right, everybody go home, because that was pathetic, man. That was pathetic. That was a dark moment for the franchise. I mean, I don't want to that really was. I mean, granted, it's only a football game, but I mean, that's bad. You're at home in a gotta have it game, and it's 3rd and 13, and you give up a run for 15.
That was the same drive that they missed.
17,
Matos, wasn't that the same drive that Matos missed picking up the ball? And then
that drive was horrendous.
The 3rd and 17 was right after that. They because they were backed up because of the fumble. That's why they were backed up into the long situation, and he couldn't quite get to the fumble. And then they're like, all right, all hell's breaking loose. We're going to run it here on 3rd and 17, and they pick up 19. And that was a huge. The Niners lost. It felt like every momentum swing.
They didn't want to put the ball in.
They didn't pick up the field
Darnold's
goal.
hands.
They gave up. They didn't pick up the field goal, or they didn't pick up the ball when it was on the ground. Then they let up the 19-yard run on 3rd and 17. Then they had the PI on Shaheed on 3rd and 9 that moved them into field goal range. It's just, that drive was horrendous.
That was horrible. Yeah. I want to ask you guys this because it seems like McDonald has had Kyle's number in I know they beat him earlier in the year, first game, but I go back to that Baltimore game a couple years ago. And then tonight, it's like you don't have Pearsall. And why aren't you doing something different, like going 2 tight ends and using Tonjes? If you're going to do these short passes, why not have your best short guy, that catches, balls like Kittle, have 2 of those guys. And if you're going to dink and dunk down the field, get it to Tonjes. Why is Juszczyk in there?
I think Tonjes is an absolute disaster blocking.
Well, he must be because he's a terrific receiver, and
you can put him in sets though that can utilize a quick, a chip, and then he can go out for a pass, and you got Kittle that could stay in, or Kittle can go out. Both of them. There's things that you can do creatively when Seattle is pretty much stopping the run. And the passes that you were able to complete all night long were the short passes for 5, 6. They were giving you those. Why not give it to a guy like Tonjes who can actually break a tackle or 2 like Kittle and get the extra 2-3 yards you need for the first down?
Well, also it's like the Rams have had a ton of success this year with 2 tight end and 3 tight end sets. And if the Niners don't have all the guys that they can they don't have all the speed at wide receiver. You don't have Pearsall. I'd like to see them run a couple more of those 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets and just have Ton just line up against a linebacker, and he can win on those routes. Where someone like Bourne or Demarcus Robinson, they're not going to win against a top corner like Eamon Warrior or Witherspoon in the Seattle D.
Can the Niners go to Philly and beat Philly?
Sure. I mean, like 100%, they could. I would guess. Like, what do you guys think the line would be in that game? Probably Philly
4.5, 5.5.
Philly by 6.
I'd think like 6.5.
Well, it might be. Well, no, it won't be out because we don't
5.5.
know. 5.5.
Yeah,
I mean,
somewhere in there.
I think they probably could beat Philly because Philly's not necessarily going all that good, but I don't think they're going to. I just don't. I just feel like they're it just I don't know. It's a weird vibe around them this year. They there's not a lot they can do to get better defensively. And are they going to be able to stop? If they couldn't stop these guys tonight, are they really going to stop Saquon Barkley behind that line? So
they haven't run it well this year, though. I know a lot of that's been their offensive
true.
line's been banged up, but they really.
I think the Seahawks are a much better team.
Yeah.
Would you agree that Philly is the most Seattle-like team of the rest of the potential options? I mean, with their defensive front.
I mean, I think Houston is. I think Houston.
Yeah, well, NFC. Yeah. You're right about Houston. I
mean, look at the Houston game and look at the Seattle game. They were absolutely garbage in both games offensively. I mean, they were really bad against Houston too. I mean, really bad.
Yeah. That's a top defense. I mean, it's a different game when you're going. I mean, the other guys get paid to play too. I was having a little back and forth in social media. I mean, it's like that. McDonald's a good coach. And the other thing, I hate to be the guy that brings it up again, and it's not a knock on Purdy. It's just something that always kind of fits into my mind in some of these games where when Purdy's really gotten it rolling, and 2023, 22, even at the end, and this year as it's happened down the stretch here, what has it been? It's been Purdy, it's been CMC, it's Kittle. It's 2 wide receivers usually that are threats. And, you take 1 or 2 things to take Trent Williams away. All of a sudden you suddenly take Pearsall away. And then it just isn't quite the same for whatever reason. Like it's like when they've got them all and they have them all for a 5-6 week stretch or 3-4 week stretch, Kyle gets in his bag, and I'm not even saying it's opponent specific. To me, it's Niner specific. Like they just get in a rhythm, and it's like the moment somebody ends up gone, and Pearsall and Trent Williams. I think it's a completely different deal when you got Trent Williams out, and the team knows you got Trent Williams out for the whole week in all likelihood, as opposed to having him go out early in a game. To me, you're less apt to get burned with them going out early in a game than you are with a team that's going to prep for it the whole week. How are we going to, attack Austin Pleasance and them not having Trent? But I don't know. I'm not saying that to say Brock isn't this or that. He's been spectacular. I think he's a great quarterback when everything's dialed. But I think you take one, 2 things away, and all of a sudden he becomes very good and beatable. And things have to go right, and complementary football and all those things. It just becomes much more of a normal kind of ordinary type game. And I think, that in conjunction with Seattle being pretty good defensively, I mean, I think that was enough to flip it to where the Niners were kind of stymied tonight.
All right, let's hit some supers. I think that's a good point, JD. Let's hit some supers since we got a bunch of them here, and we'll try to get out of here at a decent time here. We'll go speed round on the supers. All right, here we go. We got this one from Bruce. Niners need a number 1 receiver. Can't rely on Pearsall. Who's Pearsall? We got this one. Asa Rashid. Love the show. Kevin warns you not to take Seattle lightly because of their D, but this is the first time I've seen Kyle getting utterly outcoached. Did he get outcoached, or did they just Seattle have better players? That's the question.
I feel like I didn't love McDonald. I mean, defensively, look, they were great, but just I felt like they were doing a lot of stuff to try and keep, that were basically keeping the Niners in this game. Like it should have been like 24-3, 28-3, 31-3.
Seriously, the scoreboard really the game wasn't as close as it appeared on the scoreboard. Niners forever. Typical Kyle, overrated coach, big time choker. Jiroch says interception was 100% on CMC. Ball was on his hands. Have to catch those. Niners got humbled. Hopefully it means they play better in the playoffs. Oh, I mean, there's no question. That interception was not on Brock Purdy. He hit the guy in the hands. I mean, he literally handed it to the defender. Brucer says offense let 49ers down. Defense on the field too long. We got this one from Cycle Logs. If there's one thing ownership doesn't like, it's losing out on money. No home playoff games now, except the Super Bowl. Lynch's job is in real jeopardy? ? I don't know. It seems like Shanahan and Lynch are a team. Shanahan has great job security, and thus I think Lynch does as well. D. Martinez, D-line and O-line were horrible. Tackling is a joke. Mustafa takes poor angles. Brown is lost most downs. I didn't see accountability. I thought Brown actually had a couple good moments in this game. I know there's a lot of anti-Brown fans out there. We get this one from Niners Fortified or For Life. 49ers one and done in the playoffs. You guys agree with that? One and done?
It's not a lock.
Yeah, I'm gonna think for the
It might depend on.
I don't like the matchup against Philly. I don't like that.
It'd be nice if they play on Sunday.
One and done. I mean, it's definitely possible because it's going to be tough to beat Philly and Philly for sure. Kevin Cooks. CMC had 2 more rushing yards than Purdy. Oh, I know. Yeah, CMC was not the guy today. Dobie OM. I'm glad to see Lynch throwing a tantrum after 3rd and 17. Seems almost like we should have picked up a defensive end, linebacker, safety, anything at the trade deadline. Exactly. Seriously. You didn't get any help. You desperately needed help, and this is what happens when you don't get help. You have to exist on the guys. I mean, not only did you get any big-time help, you didn't get any help. You didn't try to get anybody. You didn't try to pluck anybody from anybody's practice squad. There was no creativity. It was just sitting there eroding, picking up old has-been guys off the street because you had a good scouting report on them 5 fucking years ago. We got this one. Seahawks really embarrassed the Niners tonight. This was domination. We got this one from what is that? Luis Modera. Call up Sebastian Valdez. Nothing to lose at this point. I agree. TFS. Where's Huff? I thought he would bring it late today and hope these playoffs. I think Huff's playing too many snaps on 1st and 2nd down, and he doesn't have a whole lot left. Frank Saraborn says, Larry and I need to draft players this year. Thank you, Frank. D. Martinez, time to have a conversation about Lynch and the draft strategy. Snead and Schneider run circles around us, keep wasting picks on running backs and wide receivers that sit. Oh, don't forget about kickers. Took a kicker in the 3rd round. Oh, that was right before Cam Latu. What a great fucking pick that was. Niners, Matt, 4th and 1, and we passed. 3rd and 2, and CMC and Juice were on the sideline. Weird play calling today by Kyle. Yeah, that was kind of weird to have CMC out of the game on a key 3rd down. 616, the collector said, is it an ego thing to fight with one hand behind our back every year? Almost feels like Kyle needs the challenge of his back to the wall to feel alive. That's an interesting comment. Niners forever says Pearsall is so soft and injury prone. #bust. You know, I kind of wish that Pearsall would play like crap so we could just be like he's a bust and soft. Instead, he's actually good but soft. And it's like one of those things where, yeah, the people that want to say he's good can point to one game every 5 months or whatever, and the people who say he's soft are going to point to the games where he misses with the season on the line, hanging in the balance. I mean, whatever. I think they ought to trade him. Miles says, so now what? Who do we root for? What do you mean, who do we root for? Niners in Philly next week. S. Flood, why didn't Kyle use any timeouts to end the first half? Could have stolen another possession. What do you guys think about the usage of the clock at the end of the first half?
Well, after the sack on the first down, I thought, geez, man, you might be able to get a field goal out of this. But he was afraid they hadn't stopped him. They hadn't been able to stop Seattle. He just didn't want to give up another field goal, I think.
Anthony LaRosa said, here's $1.99. Thank you, Anthony. Anthony comes back. Niners path to the Super Bowl at Eagles, at Hawks, at Rams. Yeah, that's not looking too good.
Do you guys think Kyle plays more to not lose than win sometimes? Like what I mean by that is he's not aggressive. Like we talked about the 4th and 2. He doesn't go for it early on the third possession or whatever that was.
He's the son of his father. I mean, he is he's from a bygone era. I mean, he's a young man facially, but he's an old man with how he coaches. He's not part of the analytics crew, and we saw it in the Super Bowl. They got to 3rd and 8, they passed, and then they kicked. Well, what do you think Sirianni would have done in that situation? He would have ran, and then he would have tush pushed. But that's more of the analytics crowd. Let's run it on 3rd down to set up a 4th and short. Shanahan's going to pass it on 3rd down and then kick it on 4th down. So I mean,
because I thought at the end of the half you still had just about a minute left. If you forced Darnold to throw on 3rd and long, you might get either a pick or an incomplete. You still have possibly another timeout. You had what happens if you come down and score again? Then you start the second half with the ball. I don't know. He just doesn't ever do that. He did it in the Super Bowl. I can't remember if it was the first Super Bowl or the second one. He just let the clock run out. I think it was the first one. Just never goes for it. Never tries to push the envelope.
Stingray says, Krug, where is Nick Martin? Ask Kyle. He's on the IR. It didn't play hardly at all and is on IR. James Mockestad, concerning the offense, what was Brock supposed to do? Shanahan got worked on game plan by McDonald. Hope he can figure that out going forward. I don't think that Shanahan got worked. I think the Niners offensive line got worked. I think the calls were the calls. The offensive line just got whipped. Bowling fan times 4 lost the number 1 seed to Jimmy G 2019 playbook. We got this one from 616, the collector. Kyle's package that includes Tonjes were taken alongside Maduro last night. Only logical explanation I can think of. Is it possible that the Venezuelan attack impacted this game? It's something to think of. Hot take. Dmitry Dimitrov. When Kyle said nothing has changed since the first game this season against the Seahawks, I knew we were cooked. Yeah, that's not usually a good thing to say. Miles from Frisco says, frustrating how safe we played at the end of the half. A minute left and 3 timeouts. We could have gotten a stop to get the ball back and possibly score. Yeah, I mean, it's just perfect. We can't stop them, so we have to think about offense, defense, all the different things that you got to think about there. And it's like, basically you can mind screw yourself into doing nothing. Thomas Selman, haters will blame Brock, but had no time. Too many slow plays. Can we get Garendo or Sky Moore screen? Team has responded all year. What are the draft needs? I mean, the draft needs are defensive tackle, defensive end, linebacker, safety,
wide receiver,
offensive tackle, offensive guard, offensive center. I mean, those DB. I mean, you name it.
Probably just every position but quarterback.
Boxing says Kyle lacked creativity. He was conservative. He looked like he was banking on Sam turning the ball over. Also, why was Brock bailing out of a clean pocket? Maybe he couldn't see. He's mentioned that at times, that he has a hard time seeing sometimes in the pocket. We have this one from Miles. He said Kyle was not in his bag today. James Mockestad says the 1-38 stat is worth Kyle Shanahan looking in the mirror. We got this one from B Squared Construction. Kyle thinks he's McVay. He's confused as fuck. We got this one. Cameron, this is as simple as it gets. This was a setup game. Do you guys think this was a setup game? I don't think so. I mean, Anthony says, good news is here on out, pressure will be on our opponent. Too many missed opportunities tonight. We are going to smoke Philly. Also, F you, Larry. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Antonio says Ricky Pearsall is glass. He was supposed to play the game regardless. He's not a team first guy. Champions put the team first. I won't say that, but I just think that some guys don't have as high a pain tolerance as other guys. Martin, where's that? No, what does it say? Maritime something. McDonald and McVay will continue to beat Kyle Shanahan because they have superior GMs who can evaluate talent much better than John Lynch. Of course, Kyle Shanahan created the problem himself by choosing John Lynch. They got to hit at a higher rate. There's just no question about that. Sal GZ says, preach, Larry. Kyle and John can't draft for shit. Yeah, well, it's all there for everybody to check out. Miles says, F you, Larry. Here's a silver lining. We were 6-11 last year. Love the show. I'm a top 0.5% fan according to Spotify. All right.
Nice.
I like that.
Sick.
It's always nice. I always like when somebody proves their mettle. We get this one from Flippin' Shrub. How different will the Niners secondary look next year with no pass rush? Lots of pressure has been on them all season. Good experience for the young guys. Yeah, as long as you don't get your, confidence ruined. Whatever, what's the old saying? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, if you lose your confidence, then maybe that's not good. But if these guys can get through this year and maintain their confidence, then yeah, on the other side, they should benefit. DeBig says Shanahan now 1-39 when trailing by 7 points or more in the fourth quarter. Bay Area Chris, we're a playoff team plus third place schedule next year. Anthony Catania is in the house. Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectible. He says, what the fuck was that? Please never wear the black jerseys again. What do you guys think of the jerseys, by the way? Oh, there is a huge portion of this fan base that loves these jerseys. Oh my God, I've never seen so many of them. You know how many jerseys they sold? And they sold thousands of these jerseys. What do you guys think of the black jerseys tonight?
They're all right.
I thought they were disgusting, to be honest, and it only looked worse like as they were getting their ass beat. I thought they looked like lucha libre ass uniforms. Like I didn't really understand it. I don't mind the gold, the gold accenting. They could play with that a little bit going forward. But other than that,
I do like the idea of a blackout jersey. I think that's cool, but I think the
gold face mask sucks. The gold face mask was bad.
I didn't think they were that bad. I don't think they would have won no matter what kind of jersey they put on. They weren't winning, and the jerseys were not the problem today.
Wait a second. You're saying the jersey was not the reason they lost?
Hot take.
Yeah.
What's funny is, so I had a buddy who's, a diehard Niner fan, lifelong Niner fan, he's in his early 40s. And, he gets funky about the jerseys. And I said, well, you're going to hate next week. This was after the Bears game. And he's like, what? All white? He actually doesn't like the all white, which I think the all white is fire.
The 94?
The old throwbacks.
How can you hate those?
And all that. And I go, you're going to hate these. And he didn't know it. And I sent him, a screenshot of CMC in the all black. And this stuck with me all week. I swear to God. He goes, well, you can just count the L now. And this is at 9:30 on Sunday night after they just beat the Bears. And that I had that. I know it has nothing to do with it, but it stayed in my mind the whole week. That
they're synonymous with this game forever, so they're never going to wear them again.
Don't wear them. Don't wear them week 18. I don't have a problem with them. I think they look fine. But you know what they felt like to me? They felt like week 7. It should be like week 7 agast Arizona.
First time game of the week.
Night ass uniforms.
Like tonight should have been the Niners uniform to me. Like they are so classic, iconic. The gold pants, the red and white. Even if you want to mix in the throwback with the shadow and the white pants, or however you want to do it, those are two classics for a game as big as tonight at the end of the season. It's basically a playoff game. Frank, give me the tradition. Give me the tradition, but I didn't hate them overall. What'd you think, Frank?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they were horrible. I like black, but the traditional 49ers uniform to me are the best because I think of Joe Montana. I never saw Joe Montana in an all black uniform. So,
I'm okay with the uniform. I just didn't like the gold face mask on the helmet. I thought that
I didn't
looked
notice
cheesy.
that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I mean, it was gold. I mean, I think I would like an all black face mask if I could. But whatever. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But I'll say this: I mean, they're synonymous now with this loss. I don't know if I don't know if people are going to want to be remembering these unis. We got this one: kids crush you, boomers. There are no boomers on this show, by the way. You look up your boomers. I think boomers are like 60 or 70 years old. There's nobody's a boomer on this show. So I would say,
I think you got to be older than Danny, even.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't even think Danny qualifies.
Danny's older neighbors may be boomers.
I actually am in the baby boomer category at the very end of it, but
are you? Okay, well then Danny's the boomer.
We had to get all
in. Just snuck in.
We have all the
rest of us are not. The rest of us are not boomers, but we are represented. We got this one from Unk. He says, "Why didn't Kyle call timeout after the sack in the first half?" Because up on the or
back up
the Hawks own 30. Every possession matters in a close game. He did the same thing in the Super Bowl, letting the clock run out. Yeah, that was kind of an interesting call on his part there. We have this one from Antonio. Ricky Pearsall is giving Jalen Hurd vibes. The 49ers need you, and you bitched up. Or you, what does that say?
Yeah.
You bitched up and is not a teammate first or a champion. You make sacrifices for the team, and you couldn't do that. Trade him. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but I would trade him. I'm absolutely done with guys that don't play. You can't win with guys who play a week, get hurt, play another week, get hurt. I mean, it's unfortunate. He just gets hurt a lot. DeBig says Shanahan now 1-39 when trailing by 7+ in the fourth quarter. Thoughts of an Uber driver. Would love to see some investigative reporting on why Shanahan puts a top 10 most injured team on the field every year. I believe this year marks the 4th time Shanahan has put a top 5 most injured team on the field. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this probably more than we really want to. And
I saw a report. Somebody said those where they practice those wires or whatever.
Don't even say that. That's just lunacy. And I love Chase Sr., but he put that out there. But I will say this, and that's just crazy. They've been training here since the 80s. Their injuries do not go that far back, so it has nothing to do with where their practice facility is. I mean, it's not. What is this? Now it's the Aaron Brockovich story or something. I mean, come on. We got this one is from Ann Garibay. No young studs in the works. Seattle and Rams know how to draft. This team is full of whiffs. Martin, Watkins, James can't even see the damn field. It is a little bit frustrating this year as far as their draft. Chico says beating a team 3 times is rare air. Maybe we just got that out of the way and we'll fare better if we meet again. I think we can beat Philly. We'll get into that here before we get out. DeBig says it's possible Bethune and Winters could be out next week, and Shanahan will have Martin still inactive. Oh yeah, Martin's on the IR. He's done for the year. D. Martinez never felt like the Yorks care about winning a Super Bowl. Not like Eddie. He was like an addict after that first hit. As long as the EBITDA looks good. I'm not even sure what the hell it even stands for. We got this one from Greg Garjazy. Injuries up the ass, 6-game winning streak, and they lost game 1. Or they lost 1 game, gave up 13 points. WTF. This team will be pissed next week. Have some faith and cut it out. It's not about that. We have faith. It's not about faith. We're just venting because we're frustrated watching. I'm venting because I'm frustrated watching this team that is just could have been so much better than they were. I mean, I just don't really feel like they put their best foot forward this year at all. And Garibay, Niners only have aging stars and no young studs because they suck at drafts. LA and Seattle haven't fallen off because they reload and draft really well. 49ers reach and whiff. I mean, look at LA. LA had Aaron Donald, then he retired, and in 2 short drafts, they drafted Fisk and Kobe Turner and Jared Verse and Agent Zero. And it's like, yeah, they rebuilt their D-line in a really, really quick amount of time.
I mean, think about the general discourse around the NFL about the Rams team that won the Super Bowl. It was like, well, you know what? They won the Super Bowl, but man, they mortgaged their entire future. This team's going to be trash. You know, they're going to go through a dark time, and they've got Stafford. He's going to retire. It's like they've already completely rebuilt and are now the best team in the NFL.
It's unbelievable. Use Brian Robinson, damn it. There we go. We got that one. We got this one from Anton. Draft Caleb Downs to team up with Mustafa. He's going top 5. They're going to pick in the 20s. They're not getting him. What does it say? Paul DePros? Prox. He says, all right, it's 3rd and 34 in the Seahawks. As the Seahawks manager, I recommend we dump it off to our 3rd string tight end. That should pick it up for sure. Niner fans feeling very frustrated here. We've got this one from Niners Forever. Let's be honest, Philly will demolish us, so we have no D-line, no O-line. Our defense will get exposed. Paul says, against the McDonald defense, Purdy has a hard time picking up the disguised pressures. I believe in the previous 3 years going back, he has more interceptions and touchdowns against such a defense. He did have success against Purdy on Christmas, there's no doubt. Paul also says, do not compare to Philly. How dare you, sir? We got this one from Austin Bishop. What does a win against Seattle look like? We saw it week 1. DeBig says Seahawks, Rams, Eagles all have gotten better than the 49ers because they all know how to draft better, especially in rounds 1, 2, and 3. Christopher something says flush it and try to bounce back, maybe to lose one. We got this one from Chris Micah. 3 points is less than any Jets performance. Okay. I don't know that. We got this one. Freddie Rose says, lost respect for Ricky today, honestly. This team needed him badly. Wonder if he's looked at differently in the locker room now. Wide receiver incoming day 1. Yeah, come on, man. You had to play today. Nivix Media, some silver lining. The Seahawks might lose in the playoffs on a missed field goal. Yeah, their kicker does look a little iffy. 616, hard to gamble on stealing possessions when the defense allows 3rd and 97 to convert all night. Yeah, I mean, come on. Once you're converting on 3rd and 17. Aaron Law says they suited up like the 15 team and played like him. Anthony Merkovich, just saying, hey, I'm Anthony. ZX7 says, I'm going to fly to Philly. Need backup. Anyone in? I'm going. We're going to Philly for sure. Mike Val SF says, on to the next one. That's probably the best way to deal with this one. Wise Kraken. See that with the Seattle Kraken. Defense gets passed around like Bonnie Blue. Oh man, now we're making kind of bad comments here. Chad says Renardo Green is trash. He should be Luter's backup. Why is he starting? He was out there with a bad neck injury too. M. Bayless, with black uni, looked like the Raiders tonight. That's never good. Lou says, Larry Kruger of Pig in a Pickle, can we call you a cab? Papa Lair looks sleepy.
Dude.
La you poor butt.
That's what that means.
La you poo butt.
That's so stupid, bro.
I don't even know. Ryan says, did Kyle overthink play calling tonight, or does McDonald have him figured out? He knew Trent was out all week. Game plan was bad. I don't know if you guys thought that was a bad plan. MD Code says worst offensive performance of the year in the biggest game of the year. Kyle ignored Tonjes. Juice is useless in games like these. We got this one from Jeff, who says, Larry, I mentioned last month, and you are all already knew Caden McDonald needs to be the first-round pick. We need a one-technique nose tackle next to Alfred. I like that duo. Yeah, Caden McDonald for the Buckeyes is a beast. He would be nice. Austin Bishop, I meant, what does a win against Philly look like? What do you guys think? What does a win against Philly look like?
Jalen Hurts has a terrible game. Probably some turnovers. Saquon Barkley doesn't play well. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, the Eagles can't run it, and Hurts struggles to throw it, and the Niners get a touchdown or two, maybe a 10-point lead early, and they start booing the shit out of them, and chanting for Sirianni to get fired. They may fire the OC at halftime if at that point. But no, to me, if the Niners are going to win in Philly, it's going to be because Philly is a complete and utter disaster offensively, and the 49ers can win it maybe like with 20, like 20-13 or something weird where they don't have to have a spectacular offensive game to do it, because I'm not sure the Niners can go have a spectacular offensive game in that environment against that defense.
Philly's a bully team. If the Niners can get a 10-point lead and make them throw, Niners can beat them. If they get a big lead on the 49ers and it's turns into a big running game, then Philly was going to beat the Niners. If the Niners do get a lead, though, I think they got a great shot. All right, we should tell everybody that the Krug Show is brought to you all season long by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, Larry. Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. We really appreciate those guys. Also,
this was the lineup, by the way, just to share it real quick.
Let's see. So we had McCaffrey over 31.5 receiving yards. We had Purdy with more than 13.5 rushing yards. Jennings, though, did not score a touchdown. Darnold did not throw a pick, and JSN did not have 8 receptions. So, oh well. It's a lot of fun, though, I will say that. And check out Sleeper. You get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. And thanks to Habbas Law. 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Habbas Law, Omar Habbas, Tarek Habbas, and the Habbas Law team. It's a great sponsor of the Krug Show. We really appreciate them. If you've been injured and you want to win, there's only really one call to make, and that's Habbas Law. 1-800-INJURED, HabbasLaw.com on the web. They will fight to make it right. Thanks to Habbas Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Really appreciate those guys. They're excellent PI attorneys. If you need a great PI attorney, call Habbas Law. They're going to take care of you. They're going to do a great job for you. They're really terrific attorneys. We got this one, 2 more here. Cameron Dotson says, Larry, Kyle set this shit up. Okay. And we got this one from Sadistic Turgeon. Says, I'm not confident that the Niners can beat Philly, even with a beat-up team. I think the defense will stop Purdy, and Saquon will run all over them. I think the Niners have a puncher's chance. They got to play with a lead. If they get a lead in Philly, I think they can beat Philly, but they will not come from behind against Philly. They will not. If they can't play with the lead,
would you take the ball?
No. But if they can't get the lead and play with the lead, they won't come back against Philadelphia. All right, let's do this. Let's go with our final takes of the night before we bolt for the door. Thanks to everybody for being here tonight. And here we go. We'll go around the room and we'll get our final thoughts. JD, we'll start with you and we'll work around this way. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, final thoughts. It's a tough night, but the season isn't over. I mean, that's kind of the big thing. Like they are, and I know they're trying to convince themselves of that in the locker room. Did you catch George Kittle a couple of different times in his post-game press conference tonight? he said, "Go Cardinals." And he also said, go, I hope Budda Baker gets a couple interceptions. And he mentioned Trey McBride. So he was actually piped in on the notion of, hey, Arizona can beat the Rams, which obviously probably won't happen. But that would kick the Niners to the Carolina-Tampa part of the bracket if Arizona can. So I thought it was interesting that he actually mentioned that as like something he was thinking about and rooting for. Again, a part of two separate answers tonight. In his post-game press conference. So, I know all these guys are going to be sorting through the 4 games that can straighten it out, but the year's not over. And I think, it's hard tonight because there's a lot of frustration in the loss, and there were a lot of hopes that were really high given the way this team had played. But, I would give them a shot in any individual matchup next week, whether it's Philly, Chicago, Tampa, or Carolina. We'll see. I think it's going to be tough for them to win 3 games against the group that they'd have to win 3 games against. We've seen much better versions of the 49ers not quite be able to do it. We've seen them win 2, but not the 3rd one. So I think asking this team to be the team that does it is probably too tall of a task. But that being said, I do think they can win in Philly if they play a certain kind of game. I do think they can win in Chicago if they play maybe a different kind of a game. And I think they sure as shit can go beat Carolina or Tampa if they play them. So, I think they're trying to convince themselves tonight in that locker room. And it started with Kyle Shanahan's comment where, he what he said about taking the hard path and all that. And he sure as shit believes that, that they can get it done that way. So I think that has to be the mentality here. Take a deep breath, watch the games tomorrow, see how things shake out. And I'd give this team a fighting chance. They faced, I think, a special defense tonight, which threw them off their game. And, we'll see what happens, but I give them a fighting chance against anybody. That's kind of my deal on it. Don't let tonight completely ruin what's been a really positive season considering the circumstances and a 6-game freaking winning streak. But before tonight, there's been a lot of really good for this team under some difficult circumstances. And tonight sucks. It's not what anybody wanted to see, but this team still got, at least another game in the tank to see if they can, see what they can show us they can do.
Rye, go ahead. What's your final take of the night?
My final take of the night, I will give some love to the Seahawks because I feel like we kind of went the whole stream without giving any love to the Seahawks. Like, this team is legit. I think they have like one of the 3 or 4 highest DVOAs of all time. If you go through their schedule, the Niners beat them week 1. They have 3 losses on the season. One was the Niners week 1 by 4. They had a chance to win. One was the Buccaneers by 3, so that's a 7-point difference, and then the Rams by 2. So in total, 3 losses by 9 points. Even that Rams game, I think Darnold had 3 picks. Like, they probably should have won that game. So like, this is like a very legitimate, worthy 1 seed, 14-win team. And I'm honestly, I'm pretty proud of the Niners. I mean, I have a ticket sitting in my my gambling account for the Niners to win the division at 100-1. That's how unlikely it was, 6 weeks ago. 100-1. So the fact that they even got this close, and the fact that like you see teams like the Rams, the Rams stumbling and just losing to dumb teams, and the Niners didn't do that. They lost to the Seahawks, but they took care of everybody they were supposed to. They beat the Bears in like an all-time game. And I think Purdy really looks great heading into the playoffs. I think Kyle's not going to win Coach of the Year, but maybe his best coaching job. And the way I'd calculate it, they probably have about a 16% chance to go to the NFC Championship game, something like that. Maybe like 8% to go to the Super Bowl. It's like not like impossible, like could happen. So just got to I guess keep the faith.
Frank, give us your final take.
2 things. At this point, I'm a believer in their offense. Somehow, some way, I think Shanahan and the personnel, in any iteration, I think they'll get it together and put on a pretty good showing next week. So I'm not overly concerned about their offense. I think for the first time this year, I think Robert Saleh probably made a mistake amping these guys up. This is the bigger than life game. And, just going back to my days when I played football or basketball, guys I thought were overhyped for the game, because at the beginning I saw guys running past pretty basic plays, and they slowed down and they recovered at some point, but still they were too hyped up. I think Robert Saleh needs to calm these guys down and really get back to the fundamentals and say, yo, you guys are good enough. This is not life or death. Just do your job. Break it down kind of like how Belichick coaches the New England Patriots. So dumb down the defense to the extent that this is not bigger than life. Focus on doing your job and go out there and put forth a solid effort. And I think that they'll be in the game.
Danny, you got a final thought?
Yeah, I would say, losing really sucks, especially for veterans. And McCaffrey had that turnover by missing that ball. And, you lose a game like they did in the Super Bowl to Kansas City a couple years ago, and you got all offseason to think about it. You lose a game like tonight, you're still in it. Guys like Kittle, Trent Williams, CMC, Brock, even, he lost that game against Philadelphia where he got knocked out. They got to go back to Philly. I think there's a group of guys that might be able to get these guys up for that one game just to go out and, I don't think they want to go out on a sour note like they did losing the way they lost tonight. So I think it's going to be tough to win, but with veterans that have been there before and they've tasted it so close to getting it done, it's a long, long season. They've been grinding for 18 weeks plus all the, off-season stuff that they've gone through. They're not going to quit. They're not going to lay down. I think they come back. They might not win, but I think they're going to come back and give it, a very strong effort.
Kev, go ahead. Go ahead, Kev.
I'm not sure if he could hear you.
Kev, can you hear me?
Larry, maybe
Yeah, maybe.
He's frozen, maybe, I think. I think he's frozen.
Oh, maybe he's frozen. All right. I'll go with my take. I personally, I think that, the 49ers, they're going to fight, they're going to battle, but, there's certain teams that they just can't beat. I don't think they can beat Houston. I don't think they can beat Seattle. I just don't think they're good enough at this point to beat these teams. So if they can get lucky and some of the better teams can get knocked off and maybe they get into a certain game against a certain team they can handle, then I think it's possible. But they haven't done enough this year. They haven't found that dynamic receiver that they needed. Haven't found it. They haven't really developed their offensive line to be really, really good. It's the same offensive line that struggled all year. They've leaned super heavy on Purdy, super heavy on CMC, and the defense just isn't good enough. I mean, they're on all three levels. They got a really good coordinator, but they're just not good enough. And I think that, for me, it was like, I was holding out hope that maybe they could reach a different level. But I think it's really clear that they're not going to reach that level. So I personally think that this, it's not the end of the year, but it's end of the year's coming. And man, they're going to go another year. They're going to go another year without winning the Super Bowl. It's very disappointing. But they had their opportunities this year. They didn't do enough. They went super young. It was really predicated on success was going to be predicated on them having a massive monster draft. And they had a good volume draft, but it just hasn't hit the way it needed to hit. And they said goodbye to too many good veteran players. And here they are late in the year. They're just teams that they're just outclassed by. And Seattle outclassed them tonight thoroughly. And I expect that if it happens again, the same kind of thing is going to happen. So I hate to be negative on it, but that's kind of what I see. And I never pull punches. Two last ones here. Anthony Catania says, saw Ricky's dad at the Marriott Hotel bar prior to the game. He didn't look happy. Something is up. Yeah, well, what's up is his kid didn't play. B Jaminish says run game problem. Shanahan, offensive line, CMC. Oh, it's definitely the offensive line. I mean, it's the offensive line, but it's not as simple as that. When you don't have receivers that scare anybody, then everybody's leaned forward. Everybody's in the box. The Niners don't have a receiver that scares you. So because of that, everybody's playing the run. Everybody's leaning forward, playing the run. That means they're just sitting there in a 2-shell defense, 8 yards off the line of scrimmage, and there's no chance for CMC to get any kind of explosive runs against this defense. So their offense is going to open up when their passing game is more dynamic. Then teams will play them more honest. Then they'll be able to run it. But their issues on defense are not going to get better between now and the end of the year. So they're in a pickle, and they're going to battle. They're going to fight. I know that. I know they'll battle. I know they'll fight. I just don't think it's going to be enough. All right, that is going to do it for us. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Check them out. We should tell you to check them out at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. Guys, great to see all of you. Danny's got NorCal Sports Network, so everybody give him a like and a subscribe. Red's got the In the Dungeon show. It's Saturday, so Red, tomorrow night you'll be going live on the In the Dungeon show.
Yeah, 9 to 11, a couple hours. So check me out.
Sounds good. And then of course, let's bring Kev back to the mix. We're trying. There he is. Kev, did you want to give your final thought?
Yeah, can you guys even hear me? My Wi-Fi. I'm on a hotspot now. My Wi-Fi's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I heard most of you guys' takes. Like, I agree with a lot of you guys. It's the same stuff. It's the Niners defense. I think that that Seattle probably showed that they definitely showed.
What happened? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear Kev?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought Seattle showed that they were a better team overall. I think, the tough thing for the Niners is going to be simply winning 3 games in a row in the playoffs here. And, they're going to have to do that. It would have made me feel, it's going to make me feel a little bit better if they're playing, the Panthers or the Bucks in the first week. But yeah, I mean, they have a tough road ahead, and hopefully they can look inward from this game and kind of learn from their mistakes, because there's a real chance they play the Seahawks again if they win against Philly. And if that's the case, like, the same stuff isn't going to work. Like what happened, what your game plan was this week can't be the same game plan you have the next time you guys face up. So hopefully they learn from this one and move on stronger.
All right, now I'm back there. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks to the over 3,000 people that are hanging out on a Saturday night. If you just tuned in, man, this was an ugly game. 13-3. The Seahawks beat the 49ers. For Kev, for Danny, for JD, for Rye, for Red. I'm Larry. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Take care.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Wait a second. Before we got to do this the right way.
Peace. Play the thing.
Take it again. From the top.
God damn it.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get